question, we are given that 110 to base x is equal to 40 into base 5. And we're to find the value of x. To solve this type of question, the best solution for us is to convert both to base 10. And how do we convert to base 10? Here, like we have 110 to base x, we are going to multiply each of those entries with the base, which is x, and then starting from the right hand side, we start numbering from 0, 1, 2. We number the base, that is x, from 0, 1, 2. And we do the same thing to the right hand side. We number the base, which is 5, from 0 to 1, starting from the right hand side. Now, 0 multiplied by any number is 0. And we are going to have here 1 times x squared is x squared, 1 times x is x, and 4 times 5 is 20. This is going to give us this quadratic equation that we can attempt to solve with whatever method is best suited for us. Here, I'm going to be employing the factorization method. And to do that, all we need to do is to look at the product and the sum and look at the factors that we can use just to substitute into the second term of this quadratic equation. Now, that product is minus 20 and s squared. Now, don't forget the negative sign is not 20s squared, it's minus 20s squared. But the sum of the factor of that product should give us x, which is the second term. So, looking at this, for minus 20s squared, we can look at 5x and 4x, but let's still peg the sign. If we want to add or subtract the two of them to give us x, we can see that it will have to be 5x and minus 4x. So if we add the two, it will give us x, and if we multiply them, it will give us minus 20s squared. Okay, the addition will give us 5x minus 4s, that will be x. So we have our factors that we can use to substitute into the second term. So instead of writing x, we write plus 5x minus 4x. Of course, the sum of that is also s. So it's not as if we are changing anything. But looking at the first two terms now, we can factor out. Looking at the first two terms, we can see that x is common to both. So we can factor out x. We have x. X in x raised to power 2 is x. And x in 5s is 5. Okay, that's how we factor out. Then minus 4s and minus 20. You can see that minus is common to both, and 4 can also be factored out, so that we have x remaining here. Then minus 4 in minus 20. Negative signs will cancel out, so that we have only 5. Okay, so now we can see that in this entry now we have x plus 5 is common to the two terms. So if we bring out x plus 5, here it will remain x in the first term. So we have x minus 4 in the second time. So we have minus 4. This is equal to 0. Meaning that x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we need to look out at the solution that we can pick here, because we have x is minus 5 and x is 4. First, the number base cannot be negative. So definitely it can't be minus 5. It has to be 4. And we can also check, like for example, in our first expansion, in which we have 1 multiplied by x raised to power 2 plus 1 multiplied by x plus 0 multiplied by x raised to power 0. Let's just look at the left hand side. If you are putting in 4 as the base, that will give us 1 multiplied by 4 raised to power 2 plus 1 multiplied by 4, which is 16 plus 4, and that is 20. Okay, and the right hand side, if you want to look at that, the right hand side is just 4 times 5. The right hand side is 4 times 5, which is 20. And already that is showing us that the correct answer is 4. In this question, we're asked to simplify 15 over root 75 plus root 108 plus root 432 and leave our answer in the form a root b, where a and b are positive integers. Now, this is a question in SOLD, and the best way for us to go through it is first to simplify it as much as possible. Okay, and the simplification will start with dealing with the denominator that is having a sword, and looking at that, we're having root 75. This expression is going to be the same as 15 over root 75 multiplied by 75, root 75 over root 75. Now, here, I just want to simplify this. And if you look at root 75 over root 75, it's as if I'm multiplying by 1. And any number multiplied by 1 is not having effect on it. So it's not as if I'm changing anything. But this will help me to knock out the sword at the denominator of this particular expression. Like here, we're having root 75 times root 75. If we have root 4 times root 4, we know that that will give us 2 times 2, which is 4. Alright? If we have root 9 times root 9, that will give us 3 times 3, which is 9. As a rule of thumb, if we have root a multiplied by root a, that will be a, because from indices, that is a raised to power 2 times a raised to power 2, and we can add the powers. Half plus half is 1. So we have a raised to power 1, which is a. So here, the denominator of our expression, that root 75 multiplied by root 75, is going to give us 75. So we can have the other entries plus root 108 plus root 432. Now 15 can go in 75 to give us 5, so that our expression is now, okay, root 75 we can also break down more, but if we want to write our expression, let's say we have root 75 over 5 plus root 108 plus root 432. Now, root 75, how can we simplify that? We know that root 75 is the square root of 25 times 3, okay? And root 25 times 3 is root 25 multiplied by root 3. Now, square root of 25 is 5, and we still have root 3. So, we can use this in our first expression. Instead of saying we want to write root 75, we can say that is 5 root 3 over 5 plus, now, how do we simplify root 108? 108, we can get the factors to be 36 times 3, and then 432, we can get its factors to be, look at this, that will be 144 times 3, okay? So, instead, just like we did for root 75, we can also confirm this with your calculator. If you say root 108, now my calculator is giving me in short form, that's 6 root 3, okay? And then that is root 36 multiplied by 3, and root 36 is 6, okay? So I can just show my working here, that's root 36 times 3. The same thing with 432, that is 12 root 3, but the 12 had been, we found the square root, so for us, we know it is root 144 times root 3, okay? So now, if we just cut out our 5s, we can have root 3 plus square root of 36 and 3 will be root 36 root 3. Then, for the third term, we have root 44 root 3. Now, that will give us root 3. Square root of 36 is 6, so we have 6 root 3. Then, square root of 144 is 12, so we have 12 root 3. Now, this is just as if we are having, let's say we are having, for the root 3, we can take it as just a variable, say x plus 6 root 3 plus 12 root 3. You know, that will just give us 19x, but we are not using x in this case, we are using root 3. So, if we just add the 3 entries, that will give us 19 root 3. And that is the format we're asked to find our solution. So, if you just want to, if you know how to really use your calculator, you can go ahead and try and solve this question with your scientific calculator, especially the FX991ES. Just try the whole expression, 15 over root 75 plus root 108 plus root 432. If you ask the calculator to solve this, that's 19 root 3. So we're on the right track. Our correct answer is 19 root 3. In this question, we're asked to find the equation of the line passing through the points A and B as given. And point A was given to be minus 2, 7, and point B is 2, 3. And we are to look for the equation of the line. Now, just for the sake of explanation, if you are looking at the slope is a change in the y-axis divided by the change in the x-axis. And that change, you can say it's y minus y1 over x minus x1. And the same slope will also be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In fact, this is the equation of a straight line, and the y1 and y2 on x1 and y2 can be gotten from the point that we have been given. Here, in this case, it's point A, which is minus 2, 7, and the second point 2 will be point B, which is 2, minus 3. So that means the first entries corresponds to y, and the second entries correspond to the first entry corresponds to x, and the second entry corresponds to y. So we are to use that in the equation of the straight line, which you derive from the slope. We can say, okay, now we have y minus y1. y1 in our question is 7, okay? So we have y minus 7 over x minus x1. x1 in our question is minus 2. Don't make this mistake to write just 2. It is minus 2. So we have x minus 2. So then y2 is minus 3 minus y1 is 7, okay, divided by x2 is 2 minus x1 is minus 2, please, not 2, okay. So this, you can just open up the bracket. Negative number multiplied by negative number is plus, that's minus times minus. Then minus 3 minus 7 is minus 10. 2 minus minus 2 is 2 plus 2, which is 4. Then we can cut out to have y minus 7 over x plus 2 is equal to minus 5 over 2. So we can just cross multiply this expression such that we have, you can just, let me divide our board. So if you cross multiply, we are going to have 2 multiplied by y minus 7 is equal to minus 5 multiplied by x plus 2. Okay, so let's open up the bracket. 2 times y is 2y, 2 times minus 7 is minus 14, minus 5 times x will give minus 5x, minus 5 times 2 will give minus 10. Minus 10, not 10. Okay, so now if we just rearrange, this will give us 2y minus 14. When minus 5s moves to the left hand side, that becomes plus 5s. And when minus 10 moves to the left hand side, that becomes plus 10. So all we just need to do is to rewrite this in the order we like. So like here, I can say it's 5x plus 2y minus 14 plus 10. Minus 14 plus 10 is minus 4. So this is the equation of the line we're asked to find. This question 2b, we are given that 5b minus a over 8b plus 3a is equal to 1 over 5. We are to find a over b correct to 2 decimal places. If we just write this out, we can look at this as an expression that we can cross multiply with the aim of getting a over b. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Our aim, our target is to get a over b. So if you cross multiply, we are going to have 5 multiplied by 5b minus a is equal to 1 multiplied by 8b plus 3a. 5 multiplied by 5b is 25b. 5 multiplied by minus a is minus 5a. Okay, 1 multiplied by 8b is 8b. 1 multiplied by 3a is 3a. Now we can just collect like terms, put the b's together, put the a's together. So let's just collect like terms, move the entries that are having b to a side, the entries that are having a to another side. So we have 25b. When 8b moves to the left hand side, that becomes minus 8b is equal to 3a. When minus 5a moves to the right hand side, that becomes plus 5a. 25b minus 8b is 17b. 3a plus 5a is 8a. Now, we can recollect that our aim is to get the form a over b. So we have 17b is equal to 8a. We can actually divide both sides by b so that we have on the left hand side b is cancelled out. On the right hand side, we can divide by 8, and we do that to both sides such that 8 will cancel out. So we have 17 over 8 is equal to A over B. But we're asked to leave our answer correct to 2 decimal places. So we can say A over B is equal to, now 17 over 8 on our calculator. 17 divided by 8, that is 2.125. But to 2 decimal places will mean that we round up the 5. 5, when we want to round up, will become 1, and we add to the initial entry. So the correct answer is 2.13, correct to 2 decimal places.